It's my birthday! Ah! Yes! Another lap around the sun's completed for the big old with the big mouth. But I'm still here to talk about all's going on. College football playoff initial 2025 rankings came out last night. We got to discuss this. You know that. Who's too high? Who's too low? Who should have been number one? Plus, we're going to get into Julian Sayin. He is now the betting favorite for the Heisman Trophy. What do you think? Does he deserve it? Should he be in that mix with the year he's had? We'll discuss that. Then, NFL trade deadline was yesterday. Some teams made some trades. Did it work out for them? Will it work out for them? Did some teams improve? Did some teams get worse? We're going to get into all that on my birthday edition of the Total Sports Ozone. College football playoff top 25 rankings, initial rankings came out last night. And what do you think? We got 25 Tennessee. Got Pittsburgh coming in at 24. Washington coming in at 23. Missouri sneaking in at 22. We got that team up north at 21. We got Iowa, a surprise entry in the top 25 at number 20. USC at 19. Miami of Florida at 18. Georgia Tech at 17. We got Vanderbilt at 16. Louisville coming in at 15. University of Virginia at 14. Utah at 13. We got Oklahoma at 12. We got Texas at number 11. Now here's our top 10. We got Notre Dame at number 10. We got Oregon at 9. Texas Tech at 8. BYU at number 7. Ole Miss at number 6. We have Georgia at number 5. Alabama coming in at number 4. And Texas A&M at 3. And this is what surprised me, because I thought Indiana would be number 1. We're going to discuss that in a minute. But for the initial top 25 college football playoff ranking, Indiana comes in at number 2. And that leaves the Ohio State Buckeyes as the number 1 seed in the initial top 25 rankings. So, I know there's going to be, there's probably already been a lot of debate on who should be number 1. Should Ohio State be number 1 based on strength of schedule, strength of record, and the eye test? What about Indiana? Indiana does have a more quality win on their resume, going out to Eugene to beat Oregon by 10 points. What about Texas A&M? They beat Notre Dame on the road. Yes, they did. They undefeated. So, which one of these 3 teams of the top 3, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, which one deserves to be the number 1 team? Now, as you can see, I'm a Buckeyes fan, so I got no problem with Ohio State being number 1. But, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, I'm also a realist, and I tell it like it is. On my show, on my podcast, I always tell it like it is. And I think Indiana should be number 1. Why? Why not? They have the quality win. They have the more quality win over Ohio State. Yes, Ohio State beat Texas when they were at preseason number 1, first week of the season. Yes, they beat them. which catapulted them to number one. But has Texas really been the Texas that everybody said they were going to be? Has Arch Manning lived up to the hype? Is he anywhere near a Heisman Trophy favorite? Nope. Has Texas really lived up to the hype that everybody threw on them in the preseason, in the offseason? With all the stars come back, and then Arch Manning, who's supposed to be the next one, coming in to start. Well, they've only lost 2 games, Texas. They lost to Ohio State, number 1 team in the country. And they lost, surprisingly, to Florida. So, other than that, they keep winning. They did win. They did beat Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. They did beat Vanderbilt. Had to hang on for dear life to do it, but they did get the win. So it's not like Texas is the bum that everybody thought they was when they lost to Ohio State. So that right there is a quality win for Ohio State, even though it was the first game of the season. But they haven't looked back. That's the thing. They haven't even been challenged, really. All season long. They haven't really even been challenged. Now, Indiana, you went out to Oregon, won. You held on, and the Iowa game, the win against Iowa is looking even better because Iowa is coming on like gangbusters. They have not lost since they lost to Indiana. And it wasn't a bad loss. They only lost by 5. Yes, it was at home for Iowa. It was a home loss for Iowa. But it wasn't a really bad loss. They lost on a 49-yard touchdown pass late in the game. And they only lost by 5. But Iowa, as you can see, Iowa is ranked 20th, which means they have not lost since that loss. And I believe, 5-1 in conference. So for Iowa, the Big Ten championship is still in play, which makes that win Indiana got against Iowa even that much more strong. Because now both teams beat Illinois. Indiana beat them by 53 points. Ohio State beat them by, I believe, 18 on the road. So that's a wash. Because Illinois is not even ranked no more. That's a wash. But still, Indiana has the quality win of the season. If you're talking about the Big Ten participants, they have the quality win. Going out to Eugene to beat Oregon by double digits. I believe that, plus their strength, plus their eye test. Been blowing teams out, hanging 50 points, 60 points on teams. I know they might be a lesser team, but that's what you're supposed to do against teams you are vastly superior than. You're supposed to beat the brakes off of them. So you got the eye test. I know the committee is not looking into that more than they do strength of record and strength of schedule. However, my eye test believes that based on how they've been bludgeoning teams and the quality win in Oregon, that would put Indiana at number 1. I believe Indiana should be number 1 on Ohio State too. Ohio State keep doing what they're doing, but they don't have as many quality wins. Of course, Penn State didn't help. Penn State season falling off the wagon, or the wheels falling off their season, or whatever you want, did not help Ohio State. Well, it didn't hurt them either. It's number 1, as you can see. It didn't help them. It didn't hurt them. But as far as quality wins, if Ohio State and Penn State were a top 5 matchup, they would beat, and the way Ohio State beat them by 24 points, covering an 18.5-point spread, there will be no doubt that Ohio State should be number one. But that didn't happen. I mean, they beat them. They did cover the spread. Penn State has lost 5 in a row. They have not won since the Big Ten schedule started for Penn State. So that's a wash. How about Texas A&M? They got their quality win is on roll against Notre Dame. Yes, they're undefeated. Yes, they're looking good on offense. But that's their only quality win. And I believe Texas A&M is still vulnerable on defense. So, does Texas A&M deserve to be number one? Not yet. I believe Texas A&M is going to have their chances, though. They still got Texas. They still got yeah. Now everybody will say their quality win. They have another quality win, beating LSU in Baton Rouge the way they beat them, 49 or what was it, 25. LSU was garbage. So I don't want to hear the LSU narrative. They had no offense. They hadn't had no offense all year, so I don't even want to hear all that. Ooh, Texas A&M, they went down to Death Valley, Baton Rouge, and beat LSU. I believe Georgia Tech could have went down to LSU and beat them. Yes, that's right. I believe at least 2/3 of this top 25 could have went down to LSU and beat them. Why? They have no offense. They have no offense. Why do you think Brian Kelly got the boot right after that game? They haven't had no offense all year long. They had no running game. Their passing game was wishy-washy. So of course, you can score points on them. But yes, they had a decent defense, but not enough to stop the top teams. And with no offense, and I mean very little offense, I don't hear about LSU. You don't see them on this board, do you? So I want to hear about LSU. I don't know the hit. It should have been either Indiana or Ohio State. And yes, as a Buckeyes fan, die hard. We Buckeye till I die. I still think Indiana should have been number one. They have the more quality wins. A 53-point win against a top 10 team. Illinois was ranked 9th when Indiana laid 63 points on them. Oregon was ranked 5th, I believe. 4th or 5th when Indiana went out to Eugene and beat them. Ohio State, they've only beaten one quality team, and that's Texas. Yeah, they beat Illinois, but by then Illinois was on their way down. And other than that, they've beaten everybody they're supposed to beat. They've done what great teams supposed to do: beat vastly superior opponents, beat them to the ground. But with only I call it 1.5 quality wins versus Indiana having 2. I would have gave the nod to Indiana myself as the number one team this week in college football playoff rankings. Now let's look at some other teams. What about Notre Dame? How are they 10th? They are 10th with 2 losses. How do they do that? I have no clue. I know I wouldn't put them 10th with 2 losses. That's not happening. How you gonna rank them over Georgia Tech? That's my problem with it. Yes, Georgia Tech lost to NC State, but they only have 1 loss. Only have 1 loss. I believe Notre Dame has 2. It's that bias effect of Notre Dame and the fact that Notre Dame is an independent. Because if they were in a conference, they wouldn't be ranked that high. If they were in the ACC, like they should be, they wouldn't be ranked that high. I guarantee it. I guarantee you. What are they, 7-2? With 2 losses? No. Their saving grace, Notre Dame's saving grace is A, they hadn't lost since they lost to A&M. B, they're an independent. If they were in a conference, in any of the Power 4 conference, the ACC, the Big 10, the SEC, the Big 12, if they were in any one of those conferences with 2 losses, they wouldn't be ranked that high. They'd probably be in the top 25, but they wouldn't be 10. I don't think Notre Dame should be 10. I think they should be shown if Georgia Tech is 17 with an 8-1 record. Even though I know it may not have been the greatest loss, but they still 8-1. And they still got a couple of quality wins. They still got a couple of quality wins. So how the hell is Georgia Tech below Notre Dame? I don't get it. That I don't understand. I don't understand how Notre Dame is over Texas. Really? I don't know. Maybe I think the reason why they probably over Texas is because Texas lost to a bad team, Florida. But the Georgia Tech situation, like, ain't you 8-1? That should have put them at least above Notre Dame. That's just how I see it. And where's Memphis? There's no group of 4 team. So that's saying the only way any group of 4 or group of 5 or group of 6, whatever they call them, there's only way any one of those teams is getting into the playoffs. They gotta win the conference. Because Memphis is not there. None of them. Memphis, South Florida, nope. None of those. They're not there. That's the bias to the Notre Dame. Because I wouldn't have if it was my college football playoff bracket, Notre Dame ain't 10th. More like 13th. More like 13th. You better win out 13th. That's how I would have them. Definitely. And Texas Tech and Utah, that seems to be okay. But I don't think neither one. Well, I think Oregon should be above Texas Tech. They only lost 1 game. Maybe because they've been looking a little. They haven't looked like the Oregon Ducks that we've seen like last year, where they pretty much blitzed everybody. Yeah, they're still taking care of business, but it seems like something's missing ever since the Indiana loss. It's like something is missing with this team. I don't know what it is. Maybe because their quarterback, Dante Moore, got a little banged up. I don't know. But it just seemed like with Oregon, something's missing. However, I still will put them above Texas Tech. Why? They lost to the number 2 team. The only game they lost, Oregon, was to the number 2 team on this poll. So they should be at 8. So that's Ole Miss. I have no problem with, even though, as long as they're not above Georgia, because Georgia beat them head to head, and Alabama beat Georgia. So 4, 5, and 6 seems right to me. However, my 3 issues with this initial college football playoff poll is, I think Indiana deserves to be a number 1. Even though I'm a Buckeyes fan, I believe Indiana deserves, based on what they've done so far this season, to be the number 1 team. 2, I don't think Notre Dame should be 10, especially with Georgia Tech 17. Both of those 2 teams should be right around 13, 15. Just on the outside looking in, you better win out and you better look good doing it. including Notre Dame. Oh, Notre Dame only lost to Miami, Florida, and they only lost to A&M. So you lost 2 games. I don't care how high they were. You lost 2 games. Virginia hasn't lost 2 games. Georgia Tech hasn't lost 2 games. I think Utah's only lost once. So how the hell Notre Dame is above? Anybody with 2 losses should not be above teams with only 1 loss. I don't give a damn who they play. I don't care who they play. You got 2 losses. Your ass should be looking up to the other teams with 1 loss or less. You got them at 10. They lost 2 games. First 2 games while you're looking at it. But I guess it ain't how you start. I guess it's how you finish. I don't care. Right now, Notre Dame should be at worst no better than 14th or 15th. They should not be above Georgia Tech, who has only 1 loss. But the only reason why Notre Dame is that high is because they're an independent. Like I said earlier, it's because they're independent. That Notre Dame effect is always going to monkey with these rankings because they're not affiliate. They're not in a conference in football. Because if they were in the ACC or the Big Ten or the SEC or any other 4 conferences, they would not be ranked that high. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. They will not be ranked that high. But that's the only things I got. The only problems I have with this one, they would not be ranked that high. Period. Notre Dame, not 10th, not mine. More like 14th. That's what I see. Other than that, rankings came out, but they almost mirror the AP poll. Strange, ain't it? These rankings almost mirror the AP rankings. You don't think the committee is in cahoots with the AP voters, are you? Nah, I don't think so. That would be kind of stupid and then kind of defeat the purpose of having a committee if you're just going to go with the AP poll rank. What they say. It defeats the purpose of having a committee, right? So I don't think they're in cahoots. But it does look almost to the mirror of the AP coaches poll. AP and the coaches poll. But those are the initial rankings. I know there's going to be some hot debate about Indiana, about Texas A&M. And there's even some fools out there that's going to think Alabama should be number 1. Why? Because you won 4 straight games against ranked SEC opponents without a bye. Is that your argument? What about that one the number 1, that one number 1 you have in your loss column to a bad Florida State team? You forget about that? Yes, you lost the game. Yes, I know Alabama's on the roll. Yes, I see that. But don't you dare. None of you Alabama fans out there, none of you, don't you dare come up on my podcast or any of my shorts and tell me Alabama deserves to be the number 1 team in the country. Not when you got a number 1 in your loss column. And the 3 teams in front of you don't. I don't give a damn what conference you know. Oh, Alabama in the SEC. We got a rubber. I don't care. You lost the game. But you didn't lose to a game in SEC. You didn't lose to the SEC team yet. You lost to a bad Florida State team out of conference. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Nope. When all 3 of those teams in front of Alabama lose a game, then we can discuss it. Then we can discuss Alabama being number one. Until that happens, I want to hear it. I want to hear from any Bama fan. Oh, Alabama. Nope, you right where you should be. Number 4. At 4, above Georgia, above Ole Miss. You are right where you should be. Period. Other than that, who do you think is ranked too high or ranked too low in the initial college football playoff 25, top 25? That's my 2 cents. What about yours? Hit me up. Leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing, like what I'm saying, or like how loud I'm saying it. Big O with the big mouth on the birthday edition of the Total Sports Ozone. Now, let's get into the Heisman Trophy race. We haven't talked about that much. It came to my shock, really, to my shock and awe, that the betting favorite to win the 2025 Heisman Trophy this year is Julian Sayin from Ohio State. It shocked me. I knew he was. I pay attention to it. I pay attention to the betting odds and the rankings and favorite, but it just really meant nothing to me because everybody got an opinion about that. So I really didn't care. I cared when I see the ceremony or who's in and who ain't. But it surprised me that Julian Sayin is the betting favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Currently, he's at plus 185 according to ESPN Bet, and according to FanDuel, he's at plus 150. He jumped both Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson in the Heisman Trophy betting odds. Now, you ask yourself, how the heck did he do that? Simple. The boy is good. The young man can ball. You probably haven't seen him, probably because Ohio State hasn't played too many high-profile games this year, other than the Texas game. The Penn State game was supposed to be a high-profile game. It turned out to be another whole hum because Penn State's garbage. But if you haven't seen Julian Sayin, the boy is good. Well, Richard Shockmore, he is good. He is damn good. I mean, last week, he had more touchdown passes than incomplete passes. That's right. That's right. That's right. He had more touchdown passes, 4, than incompletions, 3. He was 20 to 23 for 316 yards, 4 touchdowns, with a QBR of 99.1 and an 87% completion percentage. He leads the nation in completion percentage, 80.7. That means for every 10 passes he throws, 8 of them get completed. And the other 2 are probably either throwaways or drops. The boy is good. He has 2,188 yards. He has 23 touchdowns this year and only 3 picks. His QBR, his rating is 197.1. The boy is good. The boy is good. So he deserves to be in the Heisman Trophy conversation. Because you putting them type of numbers up week after week, regardless of the competition, and you're at Ohio State, you got to be in the mix for the Heisman Trophy. Now, do I think he's going to win it? I don't know. I think he has one hurdle. Actually, 2. But one major hurdle between him and any chances of walking off that stage with that trophy. and it's Michigan. It's Michigan. The last game of the season. The game. That game and how he performs in that game will probably make the difference between him walking off the stage with the Heisman or one of the other guys doing so. Mendoza or Simpson. Diego Pavia, he was in the mix until he lost the game in Texas. If he'd have beat Texas, he would have been, I believe he would have been the betting favorite. Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt. But since they lost that, I think that knocked him out of it. He's still in the conversation, but I don't think he'll win. It really is down to Fernando Mendoza, Julian Sayin, and Kyle Simpson. It's between those three. But Julian Sayin, he's worked his way into that mix. And he's just been quietly going about his business. But the boy's good. I mean, he should be good when you got three, you know they're going to be playing on Sunday next year or the year after, wide receivers in your weapon arsenal. Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, Brandon Ennis, and then don't forget the tight end. I mean, everybody eating. That's the good thing. That's what I like about Julian Sayin. He ain't just been zeroing in on just one target. And he could have easily done that. He has the best wide receiver in the country on his team, and that's Jeremiah Smith. He could have easily just zeroed in on him and pumped his numbers up. But no, everybody on the offense eating. Jeremiah Smith, he getting a little piece of the pie. Carnell Tate getting a great big piece of the pie. Don't forget about Brandon Ennis. Don't forget about the tight ends. He loves the tight ends, especially in short yardage. Short yardage near the goal line, he loves those tight ends. So everybody with Julian Sayin, everybody eats. Ain't nobody gonna go hungry on this offense. Everybody gonna get a little something to eat. That's why I think he deserves to win the Heisman. He spreads the love. He ain't just zeroing in on this one or just that one or that target or this target. If you're open, he gonna find you. That's simple as that. And he can make all those roles. He's done that. And if he's open, it no matter who you are. If you're the tight end, you're the X receiver, you're the wide receiver, you're the hot read, whoever. If you're open, he gonna hit you. He gonna find you. And he finds you at an incredible rate. 80.7% completion percentage. The numbers don't lie. The numbers are what they are. And the numbers say, oh yeah, he deserves to be in the Heisman Trophy conversation. No doubt about it. Now you can say, oh, he doesn't play everybody. Oh, listen it. I don't care what. If he was lousy against weak competition, then you can have an argument. But he's been doing what he's supposed to do against lousy competition. He's been eating them up and spitting them out and going next. That's what you're supposed to do. And that's what he's been doing. So you can't argue with the stats. You can argue about this person or that person's stats, but his stats match up well, both the others, Mendoza's and Simpson's. His stats match up rather well. So do I think, like I said, do I think he'll win the Heisman? The only thing, he has, like I said, he has one obstacle in front of him from the Heisman, and that's Michigan. If he has a Heisman moment or just win the game in Ann Arbor and break that 4-game losing streak that Ohio State has to Michigan, lock it down. He's going to win the Heisman. No matter what happens in the postseason, lock it down. He'll win the Heisman. I'm saying that right now, right here. That's the game is going to determine if Julian Sayin is a Heisman Trophy winner. The Michigan, the game. That team up north. It always comes down to that team up north. And it's going to come down to that again this year. So in about 3 weeks, we're gonna find out if Julian Sayin is truly a Heisman Trophy winner. Big O with the big mouth on the birthday edition of Total Sports Ozone. Now, we're gonna pivot away from college football, going into the NFL real quick. As you all know, NFL trade non-waiver trade deadline was yesterday. The NFL non-waiver trade deadline was yesterday, I believe 4 o'clock Eastern, something like that. And yes, some teams made some trades, some teams should have made some trades, or better trades, let's put it like that. Now, let's go over some of these trades. We got the Indianapolis Colts trading for Sauce Gardner of the New York Jets. I like this trade. I like this trade a lot. It tells me a lot about the Colts. They're going all in. They know they having problems with the secondary. They know their pass defense is a little suspect, and they're doing what is needed to beef it up, to try to bring it to some semblance of normalcy. And why not Sauce Gardner? Yes, he only has 3 interceptions, but quarterbacks don't usually throw his way. So he could be that lockdown cornerback that the coach needs in his secondary to allow the free safety, strong safety to roam the field without having to worry about covering Gardner. They can leave. That's one of those cornerbacks, Sauce Gardner, that you can leave on the island with most receivers, not all of them, but most of them. You can leave him on the island, and the free safety and strong safety can venture into other areas and have some dominance. I like the trade. Do I like what they give up to get him? No. You gave up Adonai Mitchell, okay, but you gave up back-to-back first-round picks. So the Colts will not have a first-round pick for the next 2 years. I don't know if the price was a little bit steep. I don't know if the price was low enough. I think the price was a little too steep to get Sauce Gardner, a cornerback. I'm hoping it works out for the Colts, but the price might have been a little bit too steep. In my eyes, it was a little too steep. 2 first-round picks plus a wide receiver. I don't know, but I like the mentality of the Colts. They're going all in. They believe, the organization. They believe in Daniel Jones. They believe in the coach. They believe they can do this. They're sitting at 7-2. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest game performance they had against the Steelers, but 6 turnovers, you're not going to win too many games, no matter who you are. So they clean up the turnovers, and now with Sauce Gardner back on the team, maybe they can get back to what they've been doing. We'll find out. We'll definitely find out. But I like the trade. I give that trade an A minus. The only reason why I didn't give it a solid A, I think they gave up a little bit too much. I'd give up 1 first-round pick, not 2. Next, we have. Let's talk about this one. Cowboys. Everybody know they needed help on defense. Everybody. So what they go out and do? They trade a second-round pick and a 2027 first-rounder and defensive tackle Mozzie Smith for defensive tackle Quinnen Williams from the New York Jets. Now, I've heard he's a 3-time All-Pro, or 3-time Pro Bowler, was a 2022 All-Pro. Okay. They also made another trade and got Logan Wilson from, I believe, the Bengals. Is it too little, too late? I think so. You make these trades after you spit the bit Monday night against the Arizona Cardinals at home, leaving you with 3-5-1. These trades, they might help the defense a little bit, no doubt. But will it be enough to save their season? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I don't think anybody thinks that these trades are going to salvage their season. They're sitting at 3-5-1. That loss Monday night pretty much shrunk their playoff probability to at least got to be less than 5%, because they got so many teams they have to leapfrog. Pretty much all of the NFC West, pretty much all of the NFC North, and you got your Eagles. You got your Eagles in your own division. Oh, don't forget about the Falcons and the Panthers. So that's like that's like at least 8-9 teams that the Cowboys have to leapfrog. You probably have to leapfrog at least 5 or 6 of those teams just to be in the mix for a playoff spot. And with this trade, how much of an impact will it make? I don't think it's going to make much of one. I really don't. And if it does, like I said, too little, too late. A trade like this should have happened 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. Maybe the Cowboys would have won a couple of those games they lost if they'd have made a trade like this 2, possibly 3 weeks ago. But I think it's too little, too late. They're 3-5-1, and they got too many obstacles, too many teams they got to leapfrog. And with that defense the way it is, and now the offense is taking a step back the last couple of weeks, I don't see it happening. Again, I'm just calling it like I see it. I don't see it happening. I really don't. And I know a lot of analysts and critics and whatever are seeing the same thing. I don't want to sit here and say the Cowboys season is done, but it sure is on life support. And I don't know if Queenan Williams and Logan Wilson will be enough to pump new life into their season. I don't think so. I'm glad Jerry Jones did something. Like I said, my thing is, if it was me, I'd go for Myles Garrett or Max Crosby. I'm going for some A-line talent on that D-line. A+ talent on that defensive line. But did what they supposed to. At least he did something. We'll see how much it'll help him. I give that trade. Only reason why I'm giving it a B+, I should have given it a B-, but I'm not giving it an A because it was made too late. It should have been made 2-3 weeks ago. It should not have been made right before the trade deadline, when you know your defense has stunk all season long. You wait till the last minute, and now it might cost you your season. So I'll give it a B+. That trade, a B+. Next trade, seeing the Seattle Seahawks trade for Rashid Shaheed, giving New Orleans a 4th and 5th round pick in next year's draft. You can't complain about that. You just giving Sam Darnold a little more firepower and some backup in case one of his wide receivers get hurt. Next man up. Perfect trade. Perfect. I couldn't agree more with that trade. Rashid Shaheed, he wasn't going to do nothing in New Orleans. He ain't been done much in New Orleans. Not much. But now that he's in Seattle with Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba, he should see a lot more targets. And who knows? And Seattle, they've been playing lights out lately. And now that they bring in this, I love the trade. Give it an A solid. I love the trade. It's like the rich getting richer. At least that's what it seems to me. It's like you just giving Sam Darnold more miles to feed, and he gonna feed them. Why not? Another team that's showing me you trying to go all in. You going all out. You think you got something good going on, and you just trying to make it better. I like that. That's what I like to see. I'll give that trade an A for the Seattle Seahawks. Some other trades, the Browns trade traded Joe Tryon Shoyinka to the Bears for a traditional 6th-round pick. Who cares? Cowboys, again, like I said, Cowboys acquired Logan Wilson from the Cincinnati Bengals for a 7th-round draft pick. Too little, too late. I'm glad that, like I said, I'm glad Jerry Jones has finally addressed the issue with his defense. He finally has seen the writing on the wall. Too little, too late. I give that grade a B, B minus at best. And the Chargers picked up offensive tackle Trevor Payne from the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints were nothing but sellers in the trade deadline. They know their season is kaput. So they're trying to get as much draft capital as they can. I see that. And that's the right thing to do. I hate when teams tank. I don't like that. I think you're a professional football player. You shouldn't be tanking. You should be trying to win every game you can. But you also can see the writing on the wall. The Saints are terrible on both sides of the ball. They're terrible. I ain't say terrible. That's terrible. So I can see what they're doing. They're unloading anybody and everybody can except their core players, Cameron and this and that. They're trying to unload whoever they can for draft capital so they can build this thing back from the bottom. I get that. And the Chargers needed some help with Joe Alt being down. Joe Alt going down for the season. They did the right thing. They traded for an offensive tackle. Smart. Very, very smart. I'll give it a B minus. I'll give that a B minus. Titans traded to the Ravens Draymond Jones. I liked him. I like Draymond when he's at Ohio State. I still like him. But he's now going to the Ravens. Ravens need all kind of help on defense if they want to make that run. If they want to make that run to get a playoff spot and possibly catch the Pittsburgh Steelers, they know they needed help on defense. So I like what they're doing. They addressing needs and they trying to fill them. Draymond Jones, linebacker, is now Ravens, and the Titans get a conditional 5th-round pick in next year's draft from the Ravens. What is it? It's again, the Ravens is one of those teams where they've had problems on defense. They've had issues on defense. Will a trade like this bolster their defense and help them with Lamar Jackson being healthy? Will it help them get on the run and make a playoff spot or even possibly catch the Steelers? We'll see. I think so. And I think now with Lamar Jackson back, the defense is going to be, playing with a little bit more energy, a little bit more aggression. And now you got Draymond Jones. So that helps out. There's no doubt that helps out. I like the trade. Give it a B. And one more. We got the Eagles acquiring Jalen Phillips, linebacker from the Miami Dolphins for a 3rd-round draft pick in next year's draft. Again, Dolphins. Probably another team that's probably trying to be sellers. They know their season is kaput. So they're trying to get as much draft capital as they possibly can. Especially with the fact that we all know Mike McDaniel is gone at the end of the season. We all know this. We all know it. He is gone. Like Robin Harris, gotta go. Gotta go. We know this. It's a foregone conclusion. So the Dolphins, I see, are trying to get draft capital. See, at the trade deadline, you're either a buyer or you're a seller. And if you're a seller, that means you're trying to get draft capital for next year or beyond. And that's a smart thing to do. You should know the writing on the wall. Which those are personnel, front office personnel that know the writing on the wall in their season. They know the Dolphins ain't gonna do nothing, so they unloading whoever they can for draft capital. Browns are in that same boat. So are the Jets. So are the Titans. The New Orleans Saints. Those guys are unloading. They know this season is pretty much done. So they're unloading. Not only are they unloading, personnel for draft capital, also from cap relief. They don't want to be so close to the cap or even over the cap, and they're not winning. And then there's no hope for them getting to the playoffs. So they're unloading the high picks, the contracts, and everything. Probably get under the cap and get some draft capital. Smart. The Browns, the Saints, the Titans, the Dolphins, those teams, they're sellers. They know the season is a wash. Ain't no sense trying to put more money into it. So salvage what you can and get draft capital. So that can help out with future trades or even picking decent in the draft, especially those teams who might be firing their coaches at the end of the season. You will want that next head coach and the next general manager have as much draft capital as they can. So I get the narrative, I get the concept, and I think it's smart. If your season is a wash, hey, you might as well start now to rebuild for the future. Simple as that. Big O with the big miles on his birthday. Birthday edition of the Total Sports Ozone. Now, before I leave, there was I saw this morning. I want to comment on this. I saw this morning on First Take. Draymond Green. If you don't know who he is, he's, I believe, a small forward on the Golden State Warriors. 4-time NBA champion. He said on his podcast, I think it was yesterday or the day before, talked about Dak Prescott. Actually talked about the fact that Dak is unable to deliver when the game on the line, when the money is money on the table, when it all comes down to it. And he called Dak a bum. He called Dak Prescott a bum. My eyebrows raised up. I say, whoa, wait a minute. You gonna call another professional athlete a bum? I've never liked Draymond Green. Never liked him. He's always a crybaby. To me, he's a crybaby. He's a big teeth crybaby. That's what he like to me. He's one of them big old crybabies. I ain't found him. I never liked him. But now, I don't know which way to go with him. To call a professional football player a bum. You don't play professional football, Draymond. So how do you know what Dak Prescott goes through? Yeah, you see on the screen, you see on the TV his struggles in the playoffs. You see that he's only won one playoff game, maybe two. He's won 2 playoff games in his 10-year career. You see that. But that means you act like he's never been to the playoff. I can see you calling him a bum He ain't never been to the playoffs in his 10-year career and put up the numbers he been putting up in the regular season. I can see that. But the man's been to the playoffs. He sent Tom Brady into retirement. Yes, he has problems throwing red zone interceptions in the playoffs. We've all seen that. But don't call him a bum. Because the boy can ball. He can ball his ass off. In the years, there's only been 1 or 2 years where Dak has not been fully up, where he's been fully healthy, and Cowboys ain't done that. Didn't make the playoffs. 2 years. When he's hurt, they don't make the playoffs. So when he's hurt, Cowboys season is over. You don't call a player that valuable to his team a bum. You don't. I know he probably came back later and clarified what he said by calling Dak Prescott a bum, but still, that was wrong. I didn't like it. I'm not even a Cowboys fan, but I don't care. You don't call another professional football player in a sport you don't play a bum. Okay? That man has been hurt multiple times. But he still comes back to play. He could have took the money and ran. But he still comes back to play. Why? Because he still believes he can win. He ain't done it yet, but he still believes he can win. You don't call a player like that a bum. And if I was Dak Prescott, I'd be demanding a freaking apology on TV, on the air, live. Not on a little podcast, live. Calling me a bum. And I bust my ass playing football and this, that, and the other. Been hurt multiple times. And you got me calling me a bum simply because I haven't been able to get it done in the playoffs? No, there are other quarterbacks out there, other teams out there that are bums. I don't think Dak's a bum. He's one of the top 10. He's a high tier 1 quarterback in the National Football League. Has been for years when he's healthy. Yes, his problem is he can't get it done in the playoffs. Hopefully, in the next couple of years, he'll get the chance to right that wrong. But I'm seriously doubt he's a bum. What do you think? Leave me a comment, like and subscribe. Let me know. All right. Time for the big old with the big mouth to enjoy the rest of his birthday day. Thank you for calling. Thank you for watching. And I appreciate it. If you give me a birthday shout out, much love to you. And I'll be back tomorrow here in the Total Sports Ozone.